wanted to hear about your experience in public and privately owned companies, and so maybe we could just start with, you're at Tap Label right now, right?
I'm currently at Tap Label. Yes.
Okay, and what's your role in the company right now?
I am the director of pre-press.
Okay, cool. So when you're directing, what are your values?
My values. Interesting. Let me think about that for a second. So I would say values, when I'm directing, and I'm managing multiple facilities at the same time, multiple departments. And my values are, just to make sure that people have the tools they need, make sure that people feel like what they're doing is valued, that they're actually a part of the solution, not the problem, and that everyone kind of has their ability to, say what they want to say, be honored. It's an open platform, so no one can have a stupid suggestion. Everything's always open. So those are kind of my values. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, no, that's perfect, yeah. And where do you think you gathered these values from? Or what kind of experiences shaped your values?
I think just the people that I've worked with in the past, the mentors, that, my past managers, it really dates back to, I had an old high school professor. It was actually a graphic communications course, and he kind of taught me the values of the industry that led into just having good mentors. I'm working for ESCO, having my manager, he was great. He had those same values. And, realizing that you're not always going to have the right answer, that someone else will probably have a better answer than you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how would you say your past mentors handled facilitating maybe a tough decision in a group situation?
How would they facilitate? So let's say that, we have lots of people trying to make the same decision or coming up to a conclusion. Is that kind of your question?
Yeah.
Can you hear me pretty good? You're
Yeah.
Just make sure there's no...
Oh, yeah, you're
background.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Making a decision as a group, sometimes that can be hard because, you know what the outcome needs to be. You know that, because usually when you're coming up with a solution, it's not because there's a problem that you've identified, it's a problem someone else has identified.
Oh.
And so people have an opinion on what it should look like. Let's say it's for a customer. So coming up with that solution is more of, all right, here's the problem. It's all kind of come up with suggestions and go, okay, how can we do this efficiently, effectively, very quickly with minimal error. And so it's kind of open platform.
Have you found, in your experience, that there's different challenges when finding a solution when you're in a private company versus a public company?
Oh, yeah. In private companies, it's actually easier because there's less people involved, usually in decision-making. So a lot of those kind of choices are left up to the individuals. And then you kind of just tell the people above you what you've decided on, and they either tell you yay or nay. In a public-style company that are much larger, there's usually a lot more red tape. You come up with a solution, and that kind of has to be approved up certain pipelines. And usually those problems aren't even directly answered by you alone. So there's a lot more freedom in a private company than a public company.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more, actually.
Okay. So which one do you prefer?
Yeah, let's talk about which one's easier. Let's talk about that. So in a public company, it's much easier because usually there's less things that kind of answer. A lot of those high, what would be the word? A lot of those really difficult questions have usually been already answered, and you're kind of just going through the daily. Maybe that there's problems, but a lot of those big answers have already been, the questions have already been answered. In private companies, a lot of those big questions happen every day. So you're kind of having to come up with a solution on the fly that may or may not be a very thought-through solution just because they're so immediate. and ultimately you find that she was probably not the best choice or best answer, and then you kind of have to backpedal a little bit. So public is easier, private is more entertaining. How about that?
Yeah. Do you think that private ever leads to more innovative ideas then?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, public is nice because usually larger companies use so many more minds, and there's a lot more money to invest into solutions. Whereas with private, you're kind of working with what you have in hand. I would say yes. Private would be more innovative because you're having to use what you have and come up with some genius solutions. So I would say yeah. Sometimes yes.
Yeah.
It may not be its most grandest solution, but it works, and it was yeah. It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah. So do you ever feel like one side is like you're more empowered versus one side is more controlled on like private versus public?
Private's definitely more empowering.
Empowering.
Public's a little more controlling.
Yeah.
Like that bureaucratic kind of. I've worked for different, I worked for Sun Chemical prior to working for TAP, and that was a much more large bureaucratic style environment. And a lot of the decisions being made go unanswered, or people don't want to give you an answer to the solution you've come up with.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Okay.
What's the actual question?
Wait, I kind of forgot. Okay. Oh, empowerment versus control. Sorry, we're trying to take notes at the same time.
No worries.
Okay, so, could you walk us through a situation where you were problem solving a procedure in your company? Or maybe like a situation where you're like trying to solve a problem, or maybe a situation where your team is divided. How do you end up with like a happy situation?
Oh, sure. Not everybody pulling their hair out, at each other.
Yeah.
Well, that question can be answered in two different ways. So if the team is divided on a solution, then you really have to tear it apart. You have to get into the nitty gritty. And you're going to say, okay, if you think you're right and I think I'm right, then we need to both show the numbers and we need to kind of time our solutions, because depending upon the kind of problem you're solving, it all comes down to making things more efficient, fast, and easy. And the faster and easy things are, the more money the company's ultimately get made. So which one is in that way more effective, that becomes the solution, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If the other answer to the question is the manager stomps on the other person's idea and it goes with their idea. And it's not the best answer, but there are times and situations where things need to be done very quickly. You need to have a solution. Someone's asking for a solution, and the more time you spend on it, the more unhappy either the person asking for that solution is going to be, or the customer is going to be. So sometimes you just got to go, this is the answer, this is what we're going to do, so we can reevaluate later. And that doesn't always end up, in good terms with everybody, but people usually, if you can explain why it has to be done the way it has to be done, people respect that.
Yeah.
So it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Usually it does.